All righty, so are we recording?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. All right, so it looks like we have a small group today. That's fine. I wasn't totally sure what to be expecting, but smaller group is just as good. So I have a pre-made presentation ready to go that I was going to give. It shouldn't be more than 35 to 45 minutes. Um, but again, because it's such a small group, I'm really hoping that we can kind of be a little bit more casual with this. If you guys have any questions, feel free to stop me at any point. Okay. I'm hoping to use these slides more as a prompt. So let me pull up what I have. And this is my first time using this, the Teams presentation feature. So hopefully it goes okay. Have you guys had a lot of experience using this yet in classes and whatnot? Yeah. Okay. We've been using WebEx for most of our student appointments so far this semester. So this is definitely interesting. Um, but like we said, today's topic is job searching strategy. So talk to me, guys. What stage, what point in your academic careers are you all at right now?
I'm graduating in May.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm a third year student.
Third year soon. Okay, so you're probably right in that time range where you're looking for maybe internships and co-ops and getting ready to prepare for senior year then. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then Jonathan, do you mind sharing? If not, that's okay.
Yeah, I'm actually at work. I hopped in because I really wanted to attend. So I will be in and out of the chat or on my microphone. I am a third year student though.
Okay, cool. Well, that's helpful to know. I appreciate you stopping by though. Hopefully it can be beneficial.
Yeah.
So it's good. I'm getting you guys at the right time. So you're kind of preparing for graduation or kind of looking forward to getting things ready to prepare for graduation. That's all good stuff. I know conducting a job search can be kind of real nerve-wracking sometimes. So I'm hoping to clear up some of those misconceptions, or at least just give you some tips on how to navigate that a little bit more smoothly. So getting started, you're going to want to have a plan going into your job search, right? You want to make this a priority. It takes some time, especially right now, situated with COVID and whatnot. A year ago when this all hit, it was mayhem. It was real messy, tough to find a position, tough to find, opportunities that were still present. I'm getting the bad network notification. Am I chopping up for you guys? No? Okay. If I get too choppy, just let me know. I've noticed if I just take my video off, it seems to even out a little bit. So feel free to let me know. But yeah, you're going to want to make it a priority. Have a plan, set a schedule. It's not uncommon for especially new students to submit between 30, sometimes 30 to 50 applications if they're looking for positions. That's probably on the higher end. But again, don't be surprised if you find yourself, submitting quite a few. Sometimes that's what it takes just to get your information out there. Think about what kind of route you want to go. So if you haven't learned it by now, you're going to learn it real soon. Your education kind of takes you so far, can only take you so far. A lot of the times you kind of learn on the job, right? And once you get started in a path, you kind of develop a niche for yourself. You may already have a niche for yourself right now, just kind of maybe taking specific classes. When we talk about engineering, for example, there's mechanical engineering, there's electrical engineering. Going farther than that, there's automotive engineering, there's sales, there's all types of different kind of paths that you can go. Think about which path is right for you, kind of what you're looking for in a job, and tailor your search towards that. Identify which keywords are real relevant to you and the experience that you're looking for. And then you're going to have to do a bit of research to it. And this kind of comes along with the process. Have an idea of what those job titles are. A lot of the positions that you guys are going to be qualified for is what's called entry level. So get an idea of what those entry level positions look like, what they require, as far as in their job descriptions. Maybe some jobs require a certain certification or certain experience in this area. And that'll really help you tailor your resumes and your search strategies toward that as well. And then you'll also kind of get an idea of what the salary is you should be expecting, okay? We'll talk about salary later and how to, I guess, approach those conversations. I know that's a big one. There's a lot of anxiety around that. Like I said, we will chat about that in a bit. And then, of course, before you start this, you're going to want to prepare your documents. The things you're going to want to have on hand, your resume for sure, a good resume up to date with everything on it, a cover letter, and then a list of references. You don't have to have those letters, but at least a group of people that you know have agreed to serve as a reference for you. And you're going to want to start reaching out to those people before you start doing your job search. Okay, so just let them know, like, hey, I'm starting this job search. You may be hearing from people. Is it okay that I use your name? Right? Just something quick and easy like that. Okay. Any questions on this first part up here? Cool. And I see we have someone new that just joined. As people join, feel free to, stop me at any time and ask any questions, but welcome to our presentation. We're talking about job searches today, how to do a job search. All right. So some really straightforward resources for you. In addition to those websites like Indeed or LinkedIn, we're really heavy on Handshake here at the university. It's something that Career Services pays for, so I have to plug it. That being said, I do rely on this a lot, and I do really back it. It is a very good job board. And the reason it's very good for you all is because it's kind of tailored to current students and recent graduates, right? So you have access to this job board free of charge being a student here at the University of Akron or a recent alumni. So you can use this even after you're done, after you graduate here. It's just a little bit safer than some of those other job boards that you'll see for free. Okay, so we have a team at Career Services that specifically does research on the job postings that are being posted and the companies that are posting on this website. So you're going to see less of the spam, and you're going to see less of those kind of fake or sketchy jobs, right? That's what I tell students. It's just a little bit safer, especially for you all who are still current students or recent graduates. Okay. Has anybody gotten a chance to explore Handshake at all? Have you guys used it? Any experience? A little bit. I see someone nodding their head over there. Some handshakes over here. That's great. I was going to do just a quick virtual tour, but I think I have this link later in the presentation as well. If you guys want to do that, maybe at the end I can just kind of show you a quick little kind of up-to-date thing of it. But if you guys are pretty familiar with it, it seems like I won't bore you with that right now. But real quick, some of the things that you can utilize Handshake for. If you're searching for co-ops or internships, there is a tab up at the top. You can filter positions specifically for co-ops or internships. And that's something that Indeed and LinkedIn don't always have. Just a little bit easier to find experiences like that. Part-time and full-time jobs. We have a couple career fairs coming up. We've already had a couple career fairs this semester. Those are all going to be held through Handshake. That's a real great resource for you guys. We do have employers are still active on Handshake and coming to those fairs. We're booked right now. We have no more spots open. They're all filled up. So if you're interested in that, we can chat later, but that's coming up soon. And then the real cool thing is employers actually use Handshake to have kind of these info sessions or networking opportunities of their own. There's a section called events, and employers are always posting new virtual events every day. It's a real cool resource. It's real handy, and it's a great way just to kind of meet people in the field. Some other websites that you can use, obviously LinkedIn is the big one here. I have this ONET Online. Anyone know what ONET is? Anyone heard of it? So ONET is kind of like an online virtual encyclopedia for all the jobs ever created in the United States. The reason I like to use it is it helps me kind of identify some keywords to use. So if you're just looking to do some research on your field and what some jobs are that are available to you in your degree, this is a real good resource. You can just type in it and search up engineering. It'll give you a whole list of engineering. You can search business. It'll give you a bunch of related job types and names of positions. So it's kind of nifty and handy when you need it. And then this job seekers. So this is just for jobs in Ohio. This is a cool thing. It kind of filters all the jobs in Ohio that are open and present right now. There's some really great resources. Actually, let me click on this. Are you guys still seeing this, or am I still on the presentation screen?
It's the presentation screen.
It's the presentation screen. All right, I'm gonna stop presenting for a second. And then I'm gonna show you guys what this looks like real quick, because I do think it's important. So this is the Ohio Me's job website. There's some cool resources. Obviously you can do like a job search, but I like some things that they have like right here. This is like a budget calculator. It helps you kind of calculate and prepare for, life after college. If you're looking to buy a house or looking to move into an apartment, they have these things that kind of estimates what those prices are, and kind of you can put in what your anticipated salary is. And it's real cool. It kind of helps you just kind of plan things out a little bit better. You can search for jobs. You can look for some resources on resumes. I'm not going to sign in. Then they have these other search tools here. You could actually sift through positions using your work values, which is kind of neat, and do some more research like that. Planning resources right there. And then they have these resources for college students as well. Okay. So if anyone's interested in that, you have some questions, we can chat about that later too. All right, I'm going to get back to our presentation. Okay. Any questions so far? Are we doing okay? Cool. All right, I'll fast forward a little bit. And then right here too, if you're looking for federally funded jobs or government jobs, this is the website to go to. That's where they're all going to be listed. That's where I really point people in the direction who are in like emergency management and homeland security. A lot of those jobs that you're qualified for are listed under this website. Okay. So professional etiquette. This is, I think, probably the most important slide on here. There's a lot of information, but talk to me, guys. What are you guys nervous about? What have you encountered that maybe you weren't sure how to kind of respond to? You guys had any interactions like that with employers, or do you get nervous about anything in particular?
Perhaps coming off as a nuisance.
Yeah, that's one thing that I always worry about. Thanks for bringing that up. So looking at these, there's kind of this list of like unwritten rules, right? When we're navigating in that professional landscape. I'm hoping to try and clear some of that up today. So when possible, you always want to leave your calls during regular business hours. I think this is evident too when you're sending emails. Always try and send your emails during regular business hours. When you send an email, it shows the time that it was sent. If you're sending emails at like 2 in the morning, it's not a huge deal, but it just kind of, what's going on, right? So try to keep all your interactions within regular business hours, 8 to 5, 9 to 6, something like that. Be prepared, leave voicemails, know what you want to say before you leave a message or give a call. Check your voicemail message. Make sure it's professional. Make sure you have it updated. Make sure it's clear and able to be understood. And when leaving your voicemail, obviously speak clearly, identify who you are, and leave some contact information afterwards. Okay, you're always going to want to leave a follow-up number. You don't want to expect that they have the caller, or assume that they have the caller ID. Okay. Any other questions about professional etiquette? This is obviously tailored towards those phone conversations. Okay. So let's talk about email etiquette. You're going to want to make sure you have an idea of how you come off online, what your presence is online. If you're pretty active on social media, make sure that you're taking proper precautions to, conceal anything that is not professional. It's pretty common practice for employers to do some research on your profiles. Now, I know you guys have been hearing that for a while. I just want to make sure that we cover that today. Follow the directions for the online job application. Usually they're pretty direct. Sometimes they're going to be not as direct, and that can be annoying. But at the end of the day, you just want to make sure that you're following the directions as closely as possible. A lot of the times they will put in, what to expect as far as timelines, right? So one thing I hear from students all the time is, I haven't heard anything from my job site. Yes. Take some time to have that information processed, so just be prepared and make sure you're reading carefully. Include a subject line so that the employer can easily see what your email is about. Again, make sure you're reading everything and double checking your grammar and that everything is spelled correctly. Make sure your stuff is attached, and then create a signature block. So does everybody here have a signature block or know what a signature block is? Yeah, I'm seeing some head nods. Cool. Things to include: your job title, obviously if you have one, maybe your major too if you're still a student, your email, your phone number, a way to contact you, and then your preferred pronouns if you'd like to include that as well. Everyone at the university here, that's kind of become common practice within the last year, is to include those on our email signatures. And then you're just going to want to avoid using any emojis or anything like that. Okay. All right. So this is kind of getting back to, am I being a nuisance, right? How do I be appropriate and be professional, especially when I need to follow up with somebody? My advice is to be patient, right? It does take some time to process applications. It does take some time to get all that behind the scenes paperwork during the onboarding process whenever you just accepted a position. If the employer is giving you a timeline, make sure that you are aware of it and make sure that you stick to that, right? That is a good kind of just measure of where you're at. We recommend following up no more than twice with the same person at a specific company. So if you're trying to get in touch with somebody and it just doesn't seem to be working out, my recommendation is to do some research, see if there's anybody else that you can contact, because maybe there's something going on that we don't really know about. Rule of thumb is usually if you haven't heard from anybody in 2 weeks, that's when I say it's okay to start sending those follow-up emails. And I think I have an example on the next slide of what that email can look like. Okay. And I do. So something like this. This is totally appropriate to do. Like I said, I hear a lot of students having this problem. It's just part of the game. It's something to expect. You're not always going to be totally in the loop, and that's frustrating, but that is just the professional world. So be prepared for that, especially with COVID. Things are moving a little bit more slowly. Give it a week, give it some time. If you're submitting an application, I usually say expect to wait at least 2 weeks before you hear anything back. Okay. Any questions about that? No? Okay. So things to consider when accepting the job offer. Okay, so these are some questions that we've all thought about. I know I've thought about it when I was kind of considering between a position or two. These are all relevant questions to consider. These are all relevant questions to ask the employer when you are networking with them. However, it's important to be tactful with the way you bring these topics up. Okay, so we have this note here. Any questions you have about salary or benefits or, you know, I have right here like the environment, if it's a right fit for you. Usually you want to wait until after you've been kind of offered the position, right? It is definitely important to consider salary and benefits. Do not bring that up in an interview, okay? Definitely not in the first interview, probably not in the second interview. Like I said, wait till you have, you know, something in your hand or a formal email offering you the position before you bring that up, okay? Any questions about that? No? Okay. Of course, money and benefits, it's not everything. So you definitely want to consider how you fit into that environment. It's tactful. You have to be tactful with the way you ask those questions in an interview. Some easy ways to gauge that is that question of, you know, what does a typical day look like for someone in the office? You know, if you're applying for an administrative role, what does a typical day look for someone in the administrative side of things? Usually you can kind of gauge what the environment's like. Values is a big one too. So that comes down to, you know, profit versus nonprofit. If you're looking for a specific type of environment or a specific type of work, that's something you must consider before kind of maybe sticking to something or accepting it. And then is there room for growth? So if that's important to you, a lot of the times today, the jobs will be pretty upfront. You know, this is a 3-year contracted position, or, you know, they'll let you know this is typically employees after 2 years, they move into this kind of role. That's appropriate to ask. Again, just make sure you feel the room before committing to that. And then this is the big thing too. When given an offer, it's okay to ask for time to think about it. I feel like a lot of people feel like they have to accept it right away, or that they feel pressured to accept it right away. It is totally appropriate to ask, you know, can I have a couple days to think about this, or when do I need to formally accept this? Those are all good questions to ask. If they come back and say something like, well, we need an answer by the end of the day, that's kind of a red flag to me. So just keep that in mind. Don't feel pressured. If someone is trying to pressure you into making that decision quickly, that should be kind of a red flag. Okay. That sound good? Any questions about that? Okay. And then accepting the job offer. So make sure you get it in writing. Okay. What I mean by getting it in writing is make sure you get an email. If they send you a contract, make sure you sign it and then make a copy for yourself. You just want to have something for your records in case they try to pull something or something falls through, right? You're really just kind of protecting yourself with that. So make sure you get that offer in writing if you can. And usually during that onboarding process, they will bring you in and have you sign those papers, and they will give you a copy. So not something to worry about too much, but keep that in the back of your head. If you have an application pending with other employers and you've already accepted a position, it is professional etiquette to contact those employers and withdraw your application. Okay. Again, it's not the end of the world if you forget, but if you made it to like the second round of interviews for a couple different jobs and you decided to accept one position and you're still kind of on the books with the other ones, I would definitely recommend kind of contacting those people and letting them know that you've already accepted. That's pretty common. They shouldn't be upset about that. It happens all the time. And then inform your references. You know, when you've actually kind of accepted the position, it's kind of a good way to just to kind of stay in touch. and let them know kind of where you're at and to continue that correspondence. Okay. Cool. So negotiating. Has anybody had any experience negotiating, maybe a salary or a job, or kind of what are your thoughts on negotiating? Are you guys prepared to negotiate? You guys think that's like a good thing? Are you nervous about it? What have you heard?
Probably a little nervous, seeing that they are like higher up and we're trying to go to them for the job.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I will say it is appropriate, and most companies do anticipate you bringing that topic of discussion up. Um, Again, it's one of those things where you need to be tactful with how you approach it. But I will say it is appropriate, and it is within your rights and within your means, and you want to make sure you're advocating for yourself whenever you can. Okay. Again, go in with a plan. If you have a number in your head, that's great, but make sure you do your research. Um, like I said on one of those on the first slide, you're going to want to make sure you have an idea of what salary expectations are for the position you're applying for before you start this discussion. Okay. You do always want to start on the higher end with the intention of meeting somewhere in the middle, right? Um, the age-old kind of saying that people in my position always kind of throw around is companies usually kind of have a like $5,000 buffer. They usually try to lowball you with like less than like a $5,000 difference. So they kind of plan for you to come in negotiating. So they have some reserves. Usually, most companies, most positions will come out and say if they don't. I've seen a lot of positions on Handshake where they say, this salary is non-negotiable, or it's for this long, something like that. So make sure you're reading that job description. But at the end of the day, it can never hurt to ask, right? It can never hurt to ask, hey, is this number? Are you willing to negotiate on this? Is this something that we can discuss further? The worst I can say is no. Okay. But also, you want to keep in mind some of the other things that you could possibly negotiate, right? Salary always isn't everything. Sometimes those benefits can be negotiated. A big thing that you'll see is like a moving cost. So sometimes a company will offer you like a stipend, a couple grand for moving expenses, especially if you're going to be out of state. So it's in your best interest to ask if the company provides anything like that. Same with vacation flex time. If you're not at the number that you were hoping for, and they're not willing to budge on it, they may be willing to budge on some of these things just to kind of hook you and get you in. Okay. All right. So just some example conversations, some things to say. In doing my research, I came across this number. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that. If we could maybe discuss this, get closer to that. Is this offer flexible? Something like that. Okay. All right. And then that's really all I had today in regards to job search. I do have a couple slides about our office and some of the services that we offer to kind of help you guys as you're getting ready to graduate. But I just want to pause right here. Do you guys have any other questions for me about the job search, conducting a job search, what to expect? No? I covered everything? Great. So these next slides, again, as we approach career fair season, we are still doing our career closet. So we have jackets for our students. If you are a current student, you can still come out and check it out. We are asking that you call ahead of time just so we can plan accordingly with COVID. We are cleaning these regularly. So we do our best to make sure that it is as contactless as possible, as it can be, and that we're keeping you guys safe. Okay, so if you're interested in that, if you have some interviews coming up, this is still a service that you can use. then, of course, sign up for Handshake. It's always good. There are a lot of positions being posted right now, especially if you're looking for summer 2021 internships. Now is the time to be active on Handshake. And then this is a relatively new service that we have here at the university. So Parker Dewey is, I don't quite know the right word to explain them, but we've basically partnered with them to offer flexible, remote, paid opportunities for students. Okay, so this is something that's available to current students and recent graduates. What they specialize in is this micro internship piece. So these micro internships are short-term paid professional projects or gigs. The gig economy is everything. You've probably heard that term being thrown around right now. They're basically like contractual projects, shorter contract-based projects that pay you. They're usually local, and they're pretty much all remote based. So you don't have to show up in person. It's definitely something you can do on your own time, something over the summer, even something over winter break. They usually last, between 1 to 4 weeks. So very flexible. Not going to make a whole lot of money doing them, but between each project, they range in payouts. I think the highest that I've seen is probably between $350 and $400, right? For 20 hours of work. That's a week, right? If you just hammer it out, $300 can definitely supplement some income while you're finishing up school. So this is something you can find on our career page. If you just go to Akron's homepage and search career, it'll take you right here, and you can click on that link and get signed up. Kind of cool. Other services, follow us on social media. And then again, we're still accessible if you need us. Our office is open on campus. If you guys are all on campus, we have kind of limited staff. We only have about 2 people in there at a time. So you're welcome to stop in if you have a question or if you need to just like have a resume looked over real quick. But really the main way we're seeing students is virtually through WebEx. So we have this career WebEx room staffed every day, 8 to 5. If you just click on that link, you'll be able to get into the room and ask your questions. So it's just kind of our way of being more accessible to you guys during this time of COVID. And then, of course, you could always send us an email or give us a call. Okay? All righty. Well, we sped through that. That is all I had today. Again, my biggest advice to you guys is just to kind of have a plan going forward. Stay in touch with us. If there's ever anything that we can be of service to you, or if you just have a quick question, feel free to throw it by us. We're happy to coach you up. Okay?
Oh, thank you so much.
No problem.
Are you okay to take any questions if anyone has one?
Absolutely, yeah.
I have a brief question.
Yeah. And how do you say your name? I don't want to say it wrong.
Yeah, no, you're good. Ola Yinka.
Ola Yinka. Okay.
Yeah. So this is more kind of pertaining to my. Oh, one more time.
Oh, I'm sorry. You cut out for a second.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying that my question kind of pertains to my kind of position, and it's that. So I'm a biomedical engineering major, 3rd year, and I'm looking for a co-op this summer, and I'm super kind of aggressive with it in the sense that I am I still cutting out?
A little bit here. I'm going to turn my video. I'm still listening, so good to go. So you're 3rd year biomedical engineer.
Yeah. And my question is that I was wondering if it was beneficial because I'm actually doing this, and I think it's beneficial, and I feel like it's going to get me places that I otherwise wouldn't be if I wasn't doing it. But I have secured not an exact co-op yet, but at 2 companies, Medtronic, and then at actually Apple headquarters in California, Cupertino. I have
Wonderful.
2.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have 2 mentors, one from each, that I'm talking to, and I'm doing it like bi-weekly. And I just wanted to know, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's an obvious yes. Is it beneficial? And 2, like, how can I make the most out of like, one, I want to get to know these people genuinely, want to know what kind of people are working at these companies I feel like I can see myself working at, and again, how to be like subtly aggressive to tell them, hey, you know what, I really want this job, kind of to sell myself in a way.
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's one of those things, there's no perfect formula for the human interaction, right? Which is what essentially we're talking about. I would first just validate, everything that you're doing is perfect. Your thought process is appropriate and right on point. So just keep doing what you're doing. I'll also say, those people, if they've agreed to kind of mentor you, or even if that agreement has not even been verbalized, it's just kind of been kind of assumed. People love to mentor. Don't underestimate that. The fact that you consider them a mentor is very flattering and very pleasing. So I always tell students, you're never, if you're bothering somebody, they will let you know. Okay. Also, along that lines, it's definitely okay to, if you're worried about maintaining those networks, to maybe reach out every couple months and just say, hey, like I've learned a lot, or I've had a busy month. I'm wondering if we could meet up, or if I could buy a cup of coffee or Venmo you for a cup of coffee, just to kind of touch base. I have some questions as I am beginning my job search, right? So that's kind of a subtle way of saying, I plan on applying to positions at your company, or I'm very interested in working at your company, right? Just the fact that you're staying in touch. Also, you got to be careful, especially if there's a job posting that you're applying to and those people are like the direct hiring managers, right? Sometimes that will pop up. You kind of got to be careful with that. Sometimes they just can't give you that inside information because it's a conflict of interest. But it's definitely okay to bring it up and see if it is a conflict of interest. It's okay to say something like, hey, I plan on applying to this position. What can you tell me about it? Like, what do I need to know? If they're not directly involved with that hiring process, that's fair game, 100%. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Does that make sense? Does that kind of clear anything up for you?
Yeah, no, definitely does. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Keep working those connections, man. That's awesome. That's great. Good work. Cool. Anybody else have any questions? No? Cool. Well, like I said, I think, so I'll put my email address in this chat. Again, my name is Vince at uakron.edu. I primarily work with students who are used to being cast. So that's like computer information systems majors, engineering technology majors, and organizational supervision. So there's a bunch of things that are kind of up in the air with the structuring of the college. I get you in touch with somebody who has more information. Okay, so feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm most accessible through email. Okay.
Thank you so much, Vince. I'm going to stop the recording now.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you very much.